All right. What is going on, everyone? Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Going to be, so this is going to be, technically, should be, at least if I'm able to post this in time. It's going to be the second live in the Facebook group this week, which is really nice. I feel like it's been a while since I've done two Facebook Lives in a week. Just have been just super busy with obviously just making sure all of our clients are taken care of. Obviously, with the new addition of Katie Craig, our assistant coach on the team, bringing in her clients, making sure her clients are taken care of. So, just really busy with a lot of stuff lately. And the second podcast episode, or the second Facebook Live video in a week, was kind of getting pushed to the back burner a little bit, where I just had to, hey, let's just do one episode a week for now, one live a week. But I really want to get back to doing two a week because I feel like I get a lot of really good feedback on these Facebook Lives, on these podcast episodes. And it's sometimes nice to have one episode where it's maybe a little bit more like informational, educational, sciencey, and then another episode where, or like the first episode being maybe like bringing in a guest or having Katie on and us kind of talking back and forth about different topics. But I think it's nice to have sometimes like a second episode in a week or a second Facebook Live that might be a little bit shorter and might be a little bit more about getting into the minds of basically all of you or talking about different things mentally or mindset wise that a lot of our clients and probably you too, on your journey struggle with. And I've just, like I said, gotten really good feedback when I was doing two a week of like, oh, this podcast episode really helped my mindset here. So I really want to start getting back to it. So hopefully I will be able to carve out time to do two episodes consistently, even if one episode is just 10 minutes long, me just sitting down, ranting about something, giving you some insight, which gives you a taste of like what coaching is like. Because these, especially these mini episodes that I come on here for like 10 minutes and just talk about something that you might be struggling mindset wise, really like these are all conversations that I'm having on a daily or weekly basis, one on one with clients that we have. Like if I come on here and talk about a certain mindset topic, it's because probably yesterday or this morning or sometime today, I sent some voice messages to a client talking them off the ledge because maybe, they were getting stressed and felt like, or like they weren't making progress when they really were and all these things. So the mind is such a big part of this journey. And if you aren't able to like have the right thought process and the right mindset along the way, it doesn't matter how good your plan is, you are going to fail if you don't have your mindset in the right spot, which is why my opinion, coaching is just so invaluable because you have that person for support to talk these things through and work through these mindset obstacles that pop up along the way. Whereas if I were to just give you the perfect plan on paper and say, "Hey, here you go," like go ahead and execute, it probably wouldn't. It would work, but it wouldn't necessarily work long term because you haven't developed the mindset that you need to keep it going. So, the topic for today. Is about things being hard. So I was having a conversation with a client, cue that earlier this week, and we were talking about struggling to like get our steps in, struggling to get our workout in, struggling to make certain food choices, and how sometimes making these changes feel hard, right? And obviously with one-on-one coaching, which is really nice versus just like a template program that you like get and are supposed to do. With one-on-one coaching, we can make adjustments. If something feels really hard and overwhelming, we can always like start, a little bit lower on like the intensity scale. So like for steps, instead of aiming for 10,000, maybe let's aim for 6,000, and build ourselves up. So it feels a little less hard than what like doing what we plan to do long term would feel. And um, so that's the thing, right? Making it easier, making the goal easier so it is easier to achieve. But even that easier goal, if it's different than what you've done in the past, is going to feel hard. If I make a commitment of, let's say I sleep until 6 a.m. every morning, and I say, okay, I really need a little bit of extra time, not a lot, but a little. I'm gonna set my alarm for 5:45, just 15 minutes, which is not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but because I'm so used to waking up at 6, when that alarm goes off at 5:45 and look at my phone and see it's 5:45, my first instinct is to be like, I can just give myself 15 more minutes because I'm so used to waking up at 6 and 5:45 just feels so much earlier. Even though really in the grand scheme of things, 15 minutes of extra sleep probably isn't going to really make that much of a difference in how you feel. But it's just the mental component of doing something different than what you're used to doing or what feels necessarily the most comfortable for you. And um, this is how it is with any kind of change you try to make, especially in your fitness and nutrition journey. If you're used to eating, this for breakfast, and now you're trying to adjust that and eat something different to support your goals better, it's going to feel hard. And I get it. And even these behaviors sometimes feel hard for like me too. And I've been doing this for years. Like getting my steps in some days feels hard. Getting my workout in some days feels hard, especially with how busy I've been with clients and the business and all this stuff. Like it's been tough fitting in, especially my powerlifting workouts, which usually are like my longest ones are like 2 hours long. Sometimes on my heaviest days end up being like 2.5 hours long. So like finding time to cram that in while also, taking my son to daycare, all the client work I have to do, and all this stuff. Like it's hard. And so even I like still struggle with this. So you're definitely not alone there. But you have to think, okay, there's no avoiding hard. I know it feels like you can avoid hard by just not doing the thing, by not getting your steps, by not doing the workout, by choosing something that's easier to maybe cook or prep, that maybe even not like practically is easier, but just mentally it's easier. Like you're so used to having, pizza every night, or not every night, but pizza multiple nights a week. And it feels hard to like have to like experiment with a different recipe to like make some chicken and make it taste good in this, right? So it's easier to just fall back on your old habits. And it feels like you're just completely avoiding the hard, right? And you're like, okay, well, I might not be getting close to my goal, but I'm at least just it's easy for me. But the thing is, that's not true. You choosing not to get your steps in, you choosing not to, get your workout in, you choosing not to follow through with the nutrition goals that you have for yourself, you are not avoiding hard by choosing not to do those things. You are just delaying it. Because no matter if you choose to get your steps in or you choose not to, in some way, something is going to be hard. In the moment, if you choose to push through and get your steps in and get your workout in and hit your nutrition goals and all of this stuff, that's going to feel hard in the moment, but it's going to make your life easier long term because you're going to be healthier. You're going to be more physically capable of moving around. You're going to be more physically capable of carrying the groceries in, carrying your kids around, carrying your grandkids around, playing with them. You're going to have an easier time long term down the road when a lot of your peers, in your 60s or maybe even 70s are dealing with all of these health issues and can barely move around and dealing with these chronic diseases. And you don't have to deal with that. Your life will be easier in the future if you choose doing the hard right now. But if you think you can avoid the hard and you choose not to get your steps in, you choose not to work out, you choose not to hit your nutrition goals, it might feel easy now because you're not making any kind of real change. But in the long term, it's going to be hard. Whether it's, having to go to multiple doctor's visits and fit those into your schedule because you are in such poor health. Maybe it's not being able to walk around or carry things, and maybe you have to take 10 different trips to carry the groceries in versus maybe just like 3 if you were stronger and could actually physically do those things. Maybe your hard is a mental hard where you have to ask for help to get off the couch because you aren't in shape to do that, or you have to ask for help to get up off the floor. If you were just laying on the floor, you had to ask someone next to you for help. Or maybe your hard is a mental hard of like having to sit on the playground on the bench and not play with your kids or not play with your grandkids because you didn't choose the hard you could have chosen 10 years ago with just simply walking more and taking care of your body then. Maybe the hard is a hard of having to not experience the fun of being able to go on the beach, being able to go in the pool with your kids, with family, and experiencing those things because because you know didn't prioritize your health, your fitness, and your body composition goals you maybe had, and you don't feel comfortable in a swimsuit. I can't tell you how many people I've gotten on calls with, how many clients have signed up who initially like had told me on their initial call that we have a pool in the backyard at our house and I never use it because even in the comfort of my own home, in my own backyard, I don't feel comfortable wearing a bathing suit. And it's like, that's hard, right? Looking outside and seeing you have this pool, but just constantly never being able to actually use it because you don't feel comfortable in your own skin or in your bathing suit and your swimsuit and everything. So you can experience that hard, that mental hard, that psychological hard, that even physical hard of all of those things I mentioned before that come with long-term chronic disease, but also the psychological hard of just every day waking up not feeling confident in who you are and not feeling confident in your own skin and not feeling confident with what you're wearing. Or you can choose the short-term hard and get up and get your steps in and implement these changes into your life. Even though they feel uncomfortable in the moment, it will make your life easier long term. And it takes, as far as the time it takes, because like our overall goal for this, right, is for these behaviors, our eating habits, our walking habits, our workout habits, to actually become habits and not feel so hard all the time, right? And there will be times where it feels hard, but it will get to a point where it doesn't feel as hard all the time, which that point is usually like people always say it takes like 3 weeks to form a habit. No, it takes longer, and that's just like the truth of it. But you'll be surprised like how fast 6 months go or how fast a year goes. It might feel like a long time right now as you sit here, but when after the time passes, like you look back, what is it? April almost now. October feels like it was just a couple of months ago, and that was 6 months ago. And I have clients now, and I just had a call with my client Brienne, which she's just absolutely crushing it. She's down 22 pounds right now over the past like 4 months since we started her fat loss phase. But I had a call with her yesterday, and we were talking about how and she's only been in the program for roughly 6 months ish, and how she just naturally just doesn't want to eat like the greasy food as much anymore, the super high calorie dense processed food anymore, because she just realizes how much it makes her feel. It doesn't make her feel good. And those other foods, you know, choosing more fresh foods, more lean meats, the things that support her goals better have become much more of a habit. And even how like the workouts have become just a habit of hers that she like looks forward to. It's part of her day. And so it's going to take longer than 3 weeks probably for these habits to stick. But you'll be surprised when you wake up 6 months from now or a year from now and you're like, wow, like I have so many of these changes in my life now that I just slowly like stacked up on top of each other over time that feel so natural now. And now all of these things that I'm doing that are going to make my life so much easier long term, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, physically, like I mentioned, all of those things now that are making my life easier long term or that are helping me to avoid the hard long term don't even feel that hard anymore. So now you get the double the benefit where now the process doesn't feel hard. So you're kind of able to avoid the hard now in the short term because they just don't feel hard anymore. But then you're also able to avoid the long term hard of all those physical things, psychological things, emotional things, mindset things, mental things that get in the way if you don't take care of yourself now. So hopefully this was helpful, a little insightful, and gave you a little bit of a, I don't know, gave you some motivation to start taking action today. Because if you just constantly keep avoiding the hard now, the hard is going to catch up to you. And when it catches up to you, it hits hard. Not to just keep using that word, but it really hits you. And it comes out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, the doctor just diagnosed me with diabetes. Wow, like I have high blood pressure. I got to be put on blood pressure meds. Oh, I realized like I just can't do a full squat on my own. Oh, I realize I can't do this on my own. And it really just hits you out of nowhere. And don't let that happen to yourself. You know, embrace the uncomfortableness and embrace the hard now. while it will be temporary, because eventually these things will become things that are, just pieces of your life, that way you can avoid the hard long term. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, send me a DM. Would love to talk more. That way we can talk to see if the program's a good fit for you. We can either place you with myself if I have open spots, or obviously my assistant coach Katie, who her clients have just already been crushing it just a few weeks into it. So really pumped, to see them already noticing some changes, implementing some new things into their life, and feeling so much better. So that is all for today. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.